everybody, welcome back. Look, okay? I know we got other challenges to do. I don't feel good when I have an episode where I'm like, man, my digital toy was too hard for me. I want a game that's hard, but not so hard that I can't beat it every time. Makes me sound like a big adult baby. Yo. Hover boots. Extremely good get here. And you might argue that I am a big adult baby, but 'tis better to appear a big adult baby than to open one's mouth and remove all doubt. You know what I mean? So I'm just coming into this one thinking, let's do Punch-Out. If you're bored, if you're annoyed, if you're over Punch-Out, I don't know what to tell you, because, I mean, it's the greatest game ever developed. That might be a little bit of a stretch, but I was thinking about it. It sounds like I'm putting on airs, because I've never actually defeated Punch-Out 1. I'm working on it on the Tuesday streams, but obviously it ain't ever been done. However, I really feel like Punch-Out 1 might be my favorite NES game. At the very least, you know how there's like most improved player awards? I feel like Punch-Out is the game that has aged like maybe the best, at the very least amongst the best of games from that era. Like the design mechanics of that game are so timeless. It's just pattern recognition and then, you know, timing. It's like playing against AI in a fighting game that gets increasingly difficult. You know, there's always going to be a place for that, I think. Games that, you know, maybe in 1986 seemed like they were gonna be the best games on the platform. You know, I'm not saying they've all aged badly. Like, there's genuine Super Mario 3 in particular. Contra. It's the same kind of deal, honestly, with Contra. It's just timing and memorization. You know, previously, what was my favorite game on the NES? I'd probably say Mega Man 2. A genuine classic. Without a doubt, however. I don't know, man. I'm leaning towards Punch-Out. In the modern era, in this day and age, localized entirely within your kitchen, I'm leaning towards Punch-Out. Anyway, even if I'm wrong, or even if I don't, you know, a year from now I watch this video and I go, what the heck are you talking about? You forget about Super Mario Brothers 3? Dunk-a-dunk, 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 dunk-a-dunk. Dunk-a-dunk, 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 dunk-a-dunk. You know, like, yeah, but then, okay. We don't have to go down that road. I'm just saying I love Punch-Out. I love the mechanics of Punch-Out. It's more timeless. I'm telling you with 100% authority. You look back on this era of video games, some of the stuff that you think is really cool now, you're gonna look back and you're gonna be like, actually, it sucks. You've probably already gone through this in your life. It's not, you know, movies are a really good example. People largely went crazy for Avatar when it was released. It's hard, and again, I'm not trying to pile on Avatar here. This is like, you know, the Avatar circle jerk is well known and obvious. However, all I'm saying is, if you were there, if you were, you know, oh my lord, that was bad. If you were of a film-going age in the year 2009, people were losing their minds over Avatar. Now, it only took a couple of weeks, maybe, probably a couple of months, I guess, but there started to be the seeds of discontent with Avatar. People started to be like, it's a lot like, you know, Pocahontas. It's a lot like Dances with Wolves. Its exclusive merit is special effects in 3D, and, you know, that's where the discourse has sat for a long time following that. But there was a period. There was a time where it was fresh. People thought this was like, it's changed the history of movies forever. And it has, I guess, but more from like a distribution standpoint. And, you know, post-production 3D becoming the standard in the industry for like a decade. But anyway, yo, at least we got Sunlight Javelin. Not my finest performance there, but I was making a point, okay? Nowadays, people largely dislike Avatar. I don't know if maybe we're due for a renaissance. See, this is a great conversation for me, because having never seen Avatar, I've exclusively watched from the outside. As a result, I'm uniquely qualified, in my opinion. Of course, I'm always uniquely qualified. Sometimes uniquely disqualified, sometimes uniquely underqualified, but always unique. I feel like it's the same for games. Like, there are games, I don't know, like, people are gonna shoot the messenger on this one. I like Star Fox 64. I feel like Star Fox SNES is not that good. However, it got a lot of critical praise around the window when it came out, because the fact that it basically had unprecedented graphics. And though, you know, hold up here. The way that the industry changed, you know, graphics became the kind of thing that accelerated. I mean, it had the most visible progression over the course of several, you know, decades of the industry. Hold on, rolling reflect? No, heavy bullets. What the heck is rolling reflect? Broken brain. We are gonna do the oubliette, obviously. I'm just saying, you know, there's stuff, you know, you evaluate something when it comes out. 10 years later, public consciousness has shifted. That's what, you know, you ever watch a movie and you go, ooh, it was a different time. It was a different time. That's all I can really say. You know, when you watch, like, The 40-Year-Old Virgin, I saw that in theaters in 2005, 2004, whenever it came out. I thought it was the funniest movie of all time. I still think it's very funny. But there is a scene in it where for, like, you know... Actually, there's, like, 8 scenes in it. Where, Paul Rudd's character goes like, you know how I know you're gay? When you watch that through, like, a 2010s gaze, you're like, oh my god. How did this ever get made? And you're, you know, that's a movie that came out relatively recently. I think it's the same for games, not so much in like a you can't say that sort of vibe, but more of like you know, the lens through which you critique or even just experience games at some point. You know, it changes based on the way the industry changes over the years. You know, a lot of it is technical. You're like, when you play... The classic example is always like sports and racing games, where like graphically, no matter what generation they're on, they usually tend to be like amongst the best games graphically, just from like a texture quality, basically, an animation standpoint. And then like 10 years later, you play them. As a kid, I thought like Project Gotham Racing 2 and like Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec, I thought they were photorealistic. Like, I would literally, like, have a straight face. I'd be playing the game and be like, you know, it's not quite video quality, but if you told me that this was video quality, I would believe you. If you told me this was, like, you know, real full-motion video, I would come close to believing you. Now it's like, you know, all the people have, it looks like they've got stockings on their heads whenever you see them. Like, their head is made of, like, 2 polygons with just a mesh over top of it. Or the head is the mesh, I should say, but with the texture over top of it. Anyway, you get the idea. I think it's true narratively as well, you know? Like, I'm still... I think it's finally started to happen, by the way, and I've been beating this drum for almost... I've had like 7 years now. I was one of the... Not only, but one of the few dissenting voices where when everyone was losing their freaking minds over the brave narrative choices in Spec Ops: The Line, I was like, this isn't that brave. In fact, I would go so far as to say it's not brave really at all. And I think people are finally coming around to the idea that not everyone, obviously, and if you like the game, I don't want to, like, rag on you, but there was, like, you know, 3 or 4 years, particularly, though, right when it came out, people were like, the game mechanics are not that good, but the game mechanics are boring in order to highlight just the war crimes they ask you to do, and you don't even question it. The whole time I'm playing the game, I'm like, why am I doing this? Okay, maybe you didn't question it, but anyway, I'm not trying to get into that, but... You know, nowadays, it's seen almost like, I feel like the Hollywood movie Crash, where they're like, what if you know, people were racist, but then the people they were racist against also ended up being the very people who saved their lives. Really makes you think, right? Hold on. This is not a controversial opinion. Pretty much everybody's in the same boat when they're like, Crash sucks. And I say this as somebody who bought the DVD for my mom's birthday present like 12 or 13 years ago. At the time, I was like, yo, this is it's real thought-provoking stuff here. It did win Best Picture, but it's probably considered one of the most, like, contentious Best Picture wins of all time. I know you're like, what about Green Book? I don't know, dude. Time will tell. There's a legacy, all right? But I'm being sincere with you. It's people remember where they were when Crash got announced. Anyway, it's especially bad. Was that the same year that like Eternal Sunshine wasn't nominated for Best Picture? Anyway, I'm not trying to beat that drum necessarily. I'm just saying, you know, it pays to go back. That's why I always I'm always like, you know, when we talk about like movies you like, I think you need to put like, or don't like for that matter, I feel like you need to put like a little asterisk on it if you haven't seen it. And let's say the same for video games, but you need to put a little asterisk on it if you haven't interfaced with that property in like a decade. You know, because sometimes you'll talk to people and you'll be like, hey, what'd you think about, you know, the movie Triple X starring Vin Diesel? And they're like, you know, I kind of liked it. Do you kind of like it, or did you kind of like it? I'm dumb. Did you kind of like it when you were 12, and now you're like, you know, 28, but you just haven't considered it since then? There's nothing wrong with it, either way. You know, you like what you like at the end of the day. I'm just saying, like, you might be embarrassing yourself, or you might feel embarrassed with what you're saying if you were to watch it again. You'd be like, well, you know what? I liked it when I was 12. Now it's a little bit, you know, it's a little too cheesy for me. When he has relations with that working lady, you know what I mean? She's self-employed. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to stigmatize. She's a woman of the night. I'm not trying to make it weird, although I've been unsuccessful. I just don't want it to get caught by Google DeepMind's language filter. You know what I mean? She's part of the world's oldest profession. Anyway, Vin Diesel then says, the things I'm gonna do for my country. And I still, to this day, I just don't understand it. Like, I think it's demeaning to the woman, for sure. It's like he doesn't even want to do it. He's just like out of a sense of like jingoistic obligation. Or maybe he's just making a joke. But it is still a weird joke. Like, why are you... I mean, it sounds rude for me to say it this way. But, like, why are you trying to make this woman laugh, you know, in a way that is not really charming? It's just kind of crass. Not to mention, you're over here in Eastern Europe. It's plausible. She probably doesn't even, you know, understand what you're saying. You're really saying it for you. It's just kind of you're rubbing salt in the wound and, you know, demonstrating the power dynamic that's present in this situation. It's troubling, if nothing else, is what I'm trying to say. Alright. Well, we flawless the boss where it didn't count, but good on casings. Honestly, gun-wise, I think we're in a great spot. Another junk salesman. Here's the deal. We can definitely afford a key. I think we could probably afford two, but I don't want to risk it. Dude, Frost Giant is a beautiful thing. So blank-wise, I would try here. And I think we got a little lucky. Take Sunlight Javelin ammo. Winchester. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave. Well, I'll shoot this open first, but we wouldn't expect a blue passive. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about this. What I want to say is we wouldn't expect a blue passive to be that good. Could be wrong, but either way, feeling a little bit better. You know, lower on HP than I'd like to be, but the armor is good at least. It's something. Anyway. Not only do the attitudes of society change, but also, like, the attitudes of you, they should change as you grow up, you know? Like, if your favorite movie now is the same as your favorite movie when you were, like, 18, I actually think that's fine. But if your favorite movie now is the same as your favorite movie when you were 12, I'm not saying it's wrong, because maybe you were a particularly, you know, adult 12-year-old, and you're like, yo, you gotta see Das Boot. It's a slow simmering, you know, epic. But if you're like, yeah, dude, white chicks. I don't understand why everybody is making fun of the movie White Chicks. You know, then it might be time to maybe reappraise the situation. And then again, you know, who cares, you know? The other thing is, like, as you get older, to have someone judge you based on what your favorite movie is it really reflects more poorly on them, i.e. me, than it does on the other person. Plenty of, like, incredibly, you know, good and successful people are probably like, yeah, my favorite movie, Weekend at Bernie's. And you're like, really? Weekend at Bernie's? You're like the CEO of a bank, and Weekend at Bernie's is your favorite movie? And they're like, well, I haven't been to the theater since 1984. You're like, okay, well, you know what? I'm not saying that's admirable. I'm just saying I get it now. I think, you know, it's unfortunate, but games criticism is still in this, like, weird... I don't know, actually, you know what's funny for me is that I feel like, as much as I say that games criticism is maybe behind film criticism, I don't know if that's true. You know, film criticism, it definitely rubs a lot of people the wrong way as being, as being snobby, right? And, you know, I'm a little bit of a snob without a doubt, at least a little bit of a snob. So I understand that. But I really feel like, actually, a lot of popular film criticism has come down to the level that games criticism has been at for a long time, and instead of being, like, super snobby, it's now mostly, like, buyer's guides. And, like, you know, Hereditary, ending explained, our theories about, you know, is more like enthusiast journalism. And, then, you know, there's good and bad there, but it's more enthusiast journalism as opposed to, like, you know, hey, I'm a scholar of film, and, you know, here's the lighting techniques that of, you know, Roger Deakins or something like that. My favorite Sega CD game, the cinematographical techniques of Roger Deakins. There we go. And yes, it's a Flowers of Robert Mapplethorpe joke. I'll explain it on the DVD commentary. Anyway. So as much as maybe previously I was of the opinion that, you know, you know, the, like, Roger Ebert style, like, games, they got a little bit of growing up to do. I actually think there's a lot of, like, academic criticism of games now. Most of it I don't read because I find it kind of boring. And I'm like, these are toys. So basically I'm a hypocrite is what I'm trying to tell you. Not saying that the critics, or the criticism shouldn't be made. You know, I think it does elevate the legitimacy of the medium. But then, like, you know, now film criticism, or not criticism, but, like, the most popular film blogs are like, you know, what we learned from the costume leaks for Phase 5 of the Avengers. And I'm like, dude, I mean, I gotta click on that. Are they bringing in Squirrel Girl? They've been real coquettish on whether or not they're gonna bring in Squirrel Girl. Trick gun. See, I recognize that one. It's a gun that tricks you. My god, he's absolutely right. I think we've got a great setup for fighting the rat. I think, basically, what I wanted to say was that Sunlight Javelin is a little risky because it's a charge weapon, But I honestly think I've just gotta, like, get over it. I'm always talking about, oh, this is a charge weapon. I can't use it against the boss. This is a beam weapon. I think that it's our best option, and we should definitely just accept it and use it. And then, I don't love, like the airstrike or whatever, cluster bomb. I think we're okay here. We'll buy a key if we can. Just using the Winchester, like, for inertia's sake right now. Might as well. It's good enough. Got it. You get what I mean, I think. I don't know. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. At the end of the day, you know, I'm in an industry where you need to play things that people want to watch in order to survive. I'm lucky that I think I have a pretty wide window of what people want to watch. You know, there's enough people out there that are like, either we'll watch you play almost anything, or, yo, orange Guanstone? I gotta see what this does. I'm assuming it's fire immunity, but orange Guanstone. Oh, it shoots at enemies. Alright. It seems like it could be good. Could be great. I mean, it was in a very expensive chest, and we cannot afford another key. So we will blank. Not there. And we will shoot this open and leave. But, you know, even though there are people who are... You son of a gun. Where was the secret? It was right there, and there's a freaking key inside of it. Dang, dude. So close. We don't have any bomb weapons, huh? No, nothing that can open it by default, I think. Anyway, even though there's people that are like, you know, we'll watch you play anything, there are also people who are like, you know, this game, Resident Sleeper, wins the next segment, etc., etc. That's fair. Honestly, it's your time. I understand being beholden to the whims of the audience, is what I'm saying. And I think it's a good thing. In some way, I don't think it's all bad. People always phrase it as if, like, well, there's nothing we can do but make, you know, Avengers clickbait over and over. You won't believe what Jeremy Renner looks like now. And I mean that, when you phrase it that way, yeah, it sucks real bad. But also, I think it leads you to playing stuff and covering stuff you otherwise probably wouldn't. Like, a lot of the games that I've played that have been, some of my favorite games have been stuff that I've basically been demanded to play. Like, Kate and I playing Stardew Valley now. I'm like, man, people were right. I should have played that like 3 years ago when it came out. 4 years ago? It's been a while. You get the idea. So, you know, there's pressure, but it's not necessarily bad pressure. Not always, at least. But I will, sometimes you go to like I follow some, I'm not like a film buff by any stretch of the imagination. But I follow some of these, like, you know, film blogs on Twitter. I always love, like, sometimes they'll post an article, and you can tell this is, like, the writer's passion project. It's, like, what they got into the business for. It will be something like, you know, this cinematographic, you know, details of Roger Deakins. And, you know, the comments are, like, nobody's commenting at all. And you're like, oh. And then there's like 100 articles that are like, we ranked the Avengers based on their shoe size. And it has like 1,000 comments, which indicates probably the viewership of it as well. And you're like, yeah, okay, I get it. That's not even like a hate click situation. I think it's just a situation where you're like, how'd you find out the Avengers shoe size? Well, in The Incredible Hulk, there's a scene where we can see Edward Norton's shoe rack. By the way, in case you were curious about, like, you know, what exactly the thing that I'm getting at, that was bad. When it comes to, like, you know, attitudes changing over time, I do want to be clear. The Incredible Hulk was not loved at release. It was like, you know, borderline liked is probably the right way to describe it. But there's a scene in that movie where Edward Norton, who plays Bruce Banner, aka the Incredible Hulk, attaches a heart rate monitor to himself so that he can have intercourse without becoming the Incredible Hulk. As someone who was maybe 20 when that movie came out, I didn't think, yo, that's super cool and practical. No, I was probably, you know, I did see it in theaters, to be honest, but I don't remember my attitude for that specific scene. The fact that I don't remember the scene specifically until I rewatched it, though, it tells you, you know, if I had seen that in theaters now, either in 2019 or as a 30-year-old, I would be like, what the heck are you doing? I'd be like, who greenlit this, dude? This is insane. I feel like if it makes any sense, I actually feel like that movie, despite not really being well liked now, was actually, it was in the best position it could be in when it came out. Like, it's almost like it was overrated at release. Excuse me, where are my rats? Let me caffeinate here. We've been talking a lot of nonsense. I'm sorry, Edward. Oh, it's the rat room. I'm sorry, Edward Norton, by the way. In general, I think you're actually one of the greatest living actors. Yo, we got super lucky there. 25th Hour is, if not one of my favorite movies, 25th Hour 100% has one of my favorite scenes. Is it here? It's right here. Ah, yeah. It's a scene, I mean, I won't spoil it for you, you haven't seen 25th Hour, but it's a scene near the end of the movie that's, you know, it's like 10 minutes long. It's long enough that you forget what movie you're watching while you're watching it. And, when, you know, that scene is beautiful. And he doesn't do anything in that scene, so it's a really bad example for me to bring up in the first place. It's mostly Brian Cox, a.k.a. Colonel William Stryker from X2, X-Men United, but also, of course, a great, distinguished actor in his own right who's been in stuff such as Adaptation. Anyway, hold on. Stop. You're getting me all twisted up, and I gotta focus, okay? I wouldn't bet on a flawless here. Of course, we'll try. But it's mostly, like, I don't even know what his patterns are. I don't know, and let's not do what we've done a lot recently, and fair enough. I was gonna say use way too many blanks. One blank is fine, even though it didn't save us, just accept it. This is definitely, like, low roll as far as, hardest enemy. As long as our HP is okay upon leaving, I don't really mind. All I'm saying is that, man, Ed Norton, you really got done dirty by the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm sorry. Dude, don't get me wrong, okay? I love Mark Ruffalo. He's also been in some of my favorite movies. At least, you know, like, that have come out since I've been alive. You ever see Collateral? That movie's incredible. Obviously, he's in Eternal Sunshine. He's been in a lot of great stuff. Okay, this might be a little tougher than I gave it credit for. Yo, wait, what does it work with? I screwed that up, sorry. It works with Orange Guanstone. I just happen to have the page up. Whenever the player shoots, Orange Guanstone will occasionally shoot an El Tetramino. That's a Clint Eastwood movie. I don't think we need an ant. Well, we can't afford it anyway, so let's not get too concerned. I'm dumb, dude. We should have spent all our keys here, without a doubt. So that's just idiocy. But on the bright side, we have had a we've had the A key 47 a lot recently. I'm just looking at, like, hold on. Is there a key beyond this wall? There's a brown chest that does not require a key to open, so it's pretty... I would say 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. I think I'll save this key. It's a bit of a spotty run, but I'm having a good time. Look, we should have flawless the first boss. Mind Flayer, I don't feel bad about. And, okay, we don't need the hard, obviously. We probably didn't need to teleport either. Okay, get your head in the game. Take me down. I'm just saying. Like, I love the Marvel movies. Just put another dime in the jukebox, baby. But I feel like oh, this is gonna get me in a little bit of trouble. Most of the actors and actresses in Marvel movies are not the most talented actors and actresses on planet Earth. In my opinion. This is coming from somebody who truly, I'm there night one, every night, for these Marvel movies. And hold on, up, right, up. We gotta focus just a little bit, but like, I love Chris Evans. So put another dime in the jukebox, baby. I love Robert Downey Jr. Did we really not kill the other one? But I don't think that I don't think Robert Downey Jr. is a bad actor. I want that to be clear. But I do think that, you know, his post-Iron Man career, which, you know, is his most successful, for sure, definitely, like, to me, I always feel like in every movie, he's pretty much playing the same character. Go ahead, say it. NL, watch Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. I saw Kiss Kiss Bang Bang when it came out. It's very good. I'm just saying. We gotta go right here. Dude, the Tetramino gun is doing great work. So for there to be a great actor like Ed Norton in the Marvel movies, I'm just surprised, or maybe he got unlucky, that he got saddled with the Incredible Hulk. Upright up. I'm not saying that he would make the movies any better if he were in them, to be honest. To be honest, if you're like a really established actor, it might actually, you might be less of a cog in the machine. It might actually inhibit the overall situation, for all I know. To be honest, I gotta use the Tetramino gun. I think. Seems to work pretty well with the Guan Stone. I would not be surprised if we died here. And I would have to take responsibility. Remember, you want to stay far. Roll. Roll. This is the one you blank, I think. I knew I was gonna get hit there. There's no better time to use a blank, in my opinion, than when you know you're gonna get hit. Who am I to disagree? Get him. Get him! Watch out, there's a mousetrap there. Oh, lucky. Okay. So you're saying there's a chance. I think that was a... Yes, we used 2 blanks, but I think that was a really, really good phase 1 for me. By my standards, I think we had our heads screwed on straight. I was just thinking about Edward the whole time. This should be dodgeable. You just want to make sure you're not going to take contact damage from walking into him. This is my favorite attack. And we should switch to a rapid fire weapon, I think, for this. But it's my favorite attack. We do get hit. However, it takes a long time. This one sucks up so much of the boss's time. Be ready. This one, you just want to make sure you're moving. Very, very solid start here. Keep up the hard work. Keep up the good work. I also really like the Frost Giant, even as a boss killer, because it shoots like as fast as you shoot. Hold on. Where are these bonus shots coming from? What the heck's happening? Well, also, what have I done? Did I break a segment of you? Did I break the fight in general? Something's not looking right here. Dude, this is like... This is a super encouraging fight. This is the best... I was nervous... Oh, well, that sucked right there, but... I was at least a little bit anxious, because I was like, oh man, if we like royally screw this one up, my Gungeon confidence is going to be like down in the dumps. Now I'm like, even if we lose, which is still unfortunately a possibility because of that dumb damage back there, but even if we lose, I'm like, dude, we played well enough to be very content. Like, we're clearly getting these patterns under control. Thank you, Guanstone. No! It's resinous. Let's use Vorpal. Again, it just... The real benefit of Vorpal is the crits. The other benefit is that it just shoots. Which for this phase is very important. To me. Dude, that was a great fight. I feel super stoked and re-energized. Give me a key. Give me a key. There's our key. Okay. Give me a counter, please. Give me a counter, please. I'll take the... Oh, wait. Give me a counter, please. That was a counter. That was my moment. That was my moment. Do it again. Do it again. Come on. Come on. Got him. Send him. There's our key. Okay. Keep it up, dude. One day I'll counter that, but for now I'm happy with where we're at. Ah, that's the easiest counter for this phase, I think. That hurts. I'm not really worried about the timing. We can always turn it on. I just want the keys, dude. What are we doing? Where are we going here? Okay, I'm gonna send them. I tried to sneak a couple counters in there, just screwed it up. There, we got another one. Don't get hit. Wait him out. Wait him out. Two supers. Beautiful. Okay. Tactical fight. Handled appropriately. What can you say? Nothing wrong with that. Can't even see where the stuff is, dude. Are you telling me we only got 4 keys? Can we... I'd rather have Fortune's Favor, I think, but... Anyway. So that was pretty good. But we can't even get Shield of the Maiden. Not that we'd want it. Necessarily. Yeah, no, I don't want to talk to you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's my bad. I mean, I wasn't going to use him anyway. But I did kick him down there with the... Under the guise of we should. The thing is, we already have 3 items. Or, sorry, we already have 1 item, so we only need 3. That's good. We always go top right, by the way. That's great, and now we can pick up the other one again. And let's go bottom right as well. Beautiful. So we don't need to open 4. Because we have the transformation already, because we started with the rat boots. So you take this. You take this. You take this. We're so low on passives. We're actually, like, really lucky that we got enough there. What are you? Rubedyne Mark II. So we're not going to take the shortcut. Maybe one day we'll take the shortcut. But let's be honest. Once we get the rat stuff, we tend to not even have to rush. We just tend to go fast enough to be misconstrued as rushing. Beautiful. I don't know what this gun does, but I'm gonna use it, because if I don't use this, I'll just end up using the Emmentaler forever. By the way, you know, just in terms of, like, personal play, I think we got a case that this one right here is... I say this now and then, probably more than I should, but I do think that there's a case that this one could be amongst the best runs I've ever played. In terms of the situation I was in when we got to the rat fight versus how we did on the rat fight, I think, you know, if you watch every episode, or you've watched many of the rat episodes, you would probably be, like, modestly pessimistic about me going in with 4 HP, 2 blanks. And I think you would have been right. Hello, my friend. Very useful. But we just, particularly, what has screwed me on the rat fight in the past has been really, really doing a bad job on phase 1. So that, you know, you're not set up for success. It's like being in a high school class or university class, and you know, you get, you fail the first assignment or something like that. Obviously, it's not what you want for yourself. Now, even if the first assignment's only worth something small, you know, it's like 5% of your grade, you're still always playing from behind. Instead of being in a position where, well, you know, worst case scenario, if I tank this next assignment, it's not that big of a deal because I got an A on the first one. You're in a position where you're like, I absolutely have to do well on this part. Sometimes that works for the best. You know, it can motivate you. But I think in a situation like this, it's not like we can just switch on the brain to play better. Like, people always say, I think people are really dumb. It's the long and short of it. I always hear people say stuff like, I think I do best under pressure. And I'm like, dude, I don't think you know yourself at all. I think when you do well under pressure, I think you're like, I'm doing well. When you do badly under pressure, I think you just don't even remember it. Because you go, you know, I was under a lot of pressure. Makes sense, you know, your performance obviously suffers there. That's why I don't know, man. So I've done job interviews, believe it or not. A lot of people think I've been, hey, born with a silver spoon in your mouth, you Ed Norton watching son of a gun. And, you know, there's no doubt that I have... Hold on, you can't dodge roll here. See how fast I just read that? My God. No wonder I've aced my job interviews. But I have worked, you know, and it might surprise you, but I usually interview pretty well. Hold on. Oh, do it a speed up. I love it. But I always, like, I don't want to say that I feel interviews are disingenuous. Like, I don't lie, or I've never lied in a job interview, so to speak. I have represented my skills in the best way possible. There's no doubt about that one. But, you know, I just, when people are like, I'm good at time management, I perform best under pressure, I work well with a team, I'm like, you can't say that. Like, honestly, I think in a perfect world, obviously you need to interview the candidate themselves. And I just want to point out, I am being a little facetious here. And for more technical interviews, like, it's not like it's irrelevant, but, you know, I guess the way that they behave at the interview is taken in account along with their actual, like, the skills that they're able to demonstrate in the technical interview. But, those rooms don't connect. Very strange. I always feel like a job interview should be like a two-parter. The first part should be you go in and talk about yourself, and the second part, I know this is where your references come in, the second part should be like other people from your life that you didn't get to contact before you went for the job interview. Just a random selection of people. You know, like if you're in college, like your thesis supervisor comes in and they just talk for 15 minutes. And they're like, he said he's good at time management. Is he actually good at time management? And they're like, well, you know, he's not bad, but at the same time, you know, he procrastinates on things from time to time. Blah, you know, just get a bit more honest appraisal of the situation. That's all I'm saying. I mean, you shouldn't actually do that because, I mean, the labor market is already, like, drastically tilted in favor of the hirers to begin with. I'm just saying, like, you know, mostly it's a joke, but you get the idea. Okay, we're no longer cheesed up. Easiest fight of my entire life. Take the flawless, and we're sitting pretty. Hold up. Okay. We have 3 blanks. So obviously blank. I don't think we need to buy, or I don't think we need to spend any money on keys anymore. Kind of set in that department. Yo, it's not that good, but still, it's like the principle of the matter. All right, take me down. We don't need to gun much. We're in a great spot. Anyway, I'm just saying. I don't think people know themselves. This is always, you know, the people who are like, I hate drama. You know, those people are not always dramatic. Sometimes people they talk in absolutes like that. They're like, as soon as somebody says I don't do drama, I know that they're dramatic. That's a bad way to think, because like literally. Basically, all you're saying is like, whatever people tell me, I just believe that they're the opposite. That's an ignorant attitude as well. But you know, sometimes people are like, I don't do drama. And then you're like, brother, you're the most dramatic person I've met in my entire life. You know? And at a job interview, I mean, I guess that's what your references are there to do, is to vet you. But I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like they don't know themselves that well. I feel like I don't know myself that well. Like, would I say I perform best under pressure? Yeah, I think I have grace under fire, believe it or not. Then again, I've also choked. I'll maintain to this day, I only choked in 1 Champions of Fire. I choked in Crossy versus Cobalt. Against Hafu, I did not choke. She was, even though I was a #1 seed, she was the favorite in that matchup based on the performance up to that point. Especially with the game selection. I'm not saying the game selection is the reason she won. You can tell I'm still bitter, obviously. But I'm not saying the game selection is the reason she won. But I do think she would be considered the favorite in the selection of games we had in our semifinal matchup. That's all I'm saying. Basically, I was robbed. Put beach buggy racing on the semifinals docket. You cowards. All I'm saying is there's only 1 game certified from Champions of Fire 2 that's made it into a Tesla automobile. And it's not cooking craze. That's all I'm not trying to insult Big Fish Games, a large tech employer in the Pacific Northwest. More power to you. I'm just saying, beach buggy racing, you could play that in Reggie Watts' Model S if you wanted to. Okie dokie. So yeah, obviously, like, we've come through this one basically smelling like a rose. I mean, to be honest, I think the Tetranomino gun, which I always mispronounce, I think it might be our best DPS with Orange Guanstone. I have few complaints. And we learned a lot with Fortune's Favor recently. We learned that Fortune's Favor cannot be relied upon in the same way that Invincibility can. These guys have absolutely got to go. If that's all you can accomplish with your cheese, it's still been a big success. Ah! Very lucky we have Fortune's Favor working out for us there. Go ahead, make my day. Alright. Alright, it went just fine. Dude, this run... Basically, this run is exactly what I needed. It has not been super easy. I do want to defend myself in that regard. I don't think that we got, like, insanely overpowered. I think we have played very well, at least by my standards. That's fine. I think I accidentally blanked all of my resourceful sack shots. Ah! That's a big one. Everything's still going fine. Again, as long as you can take these guys out, that's the only thing that matters to me very much. Wrong. Wrong time to use Fortune's Favor. That was a cheese-based situation. Yeah, I rolled right into it. Several times. It's alright, we still got him. It worked! Honestly, just go ahead, dude. On the final shot, we get him. Well, we got him with a little cheese help. Dude, that was a great Gungeon run. I feel rejuvenated and remember what I love about the game. We did wonderful during Punch-Out. In my estimation, we were not... Just cool it, Mr. Payday. In my estimation, we were not insanely overpowered. We just happened to perform pretty well. And we will... Oops, I missed it. And come up the staircase here. Hey, for now. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode. If you did, click the like button. Helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you would like to see more in the future. Let me know what you want to see me do. Still a lot of challenges to go in Gungeon. Daisuke I might put on the back burner for a bit for my own mental health. But apart from that, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. And I'll see you next time. See ya.